Goeiedag, ik ben Peter van Horizon Select en ik interview vandaag onze lokale agent van Vietnam, Mr. George. Hi, Mr. George, or should I just say George?
Hello, Peter. Just call me George. It's fine.
Okay. So, how are you in the Far East in Vietnam?
Well, as you know, the situation is worldwide a big issue. But in Vietnam, we are now out of the confinement, and slowly the life is coming back to normal. The restaurants are reopened. We can go on the beach whenever it's appropriate. The business is starting again. Of course, the borders are still closed for the foreigners, but we got a note just yesterday from the Ministry of Immigration, and the borders are going to reopen officially on the 1st of July.
Yes, we heard this also. I think Vietnam will be one of the first countries to reopen their borders.
Yes, Vietnam and Cambodia are both having a very active trend of reopening. There will be actually we are waiting for the proper decree from the government, but basically 80 countries will be entitled to get visa, online visa, so pre-prepared visa. There will be no more for the time being, no more visa upon arrival, but we are waiting for the decree to be issued and get the proper government recommendations. Nevertheless, we heard also, we have been confirmed that Qatar Airways is going to fly again to Ho Chi Minh City as of the 1st of July. So it's a confirmation that we are having from the general manager of Qatar. And I guess slowly the other airlines will also resume flying to Vietnam, Hanoi, and Ho Chi Minh.
But we read that Vietnam was one of the least infected countries around the world. You had hardly any COVID-19 deaths. Is that true?
Well, yes and no. To be honest, we have the chance to have a very young population in Vietnam. 70% of the population is below 40 years old. So it's when we see that the virus was attacking more the elderly people, of course in Vietnam we had less chances to get infected, because people are below, in general, people are below the age of 40. Also, Vietnam has taken very early strong measures, because as I recall very well, when it was the Lunar New Year, at the end of January, already they start closing the borders with China, and suspend the flights and things like this. So it was a very strong action. I think more politically to disturb a bit China, but at the end it was proven to be the right move. So there was very few infections, and I guess also the climate has something to play with that, because we are always very hot. So if you see in Southeast Asia, Thailand is not very infected. Cambodia was not very infected. They were more in the upper northern part of Asia, where it was colder, like Korea, so it's good and less. But of course, figures are figures, and most probably there was some people that were forgotten in the statistics, to be honest.
So the borders reopening in July, but how do they see it with the social distancing and everything? Because I think the hotels at this time are still closed.
Yes, I think it will. Even the borders are officially reopening on the 1st of July, we don't expect to have mass tourism coming back in the next 6 months or so. So I think, nevertheless, towards the end of the year, we will start to have. our first clients to come back. And also, in a general trend, I guess the mass tourism it's over for a couple of years. So there will be selected travelers that are going to be able to pay some money to travel in more in style and get more, let's say, maybe business class seats, or getting into an environment that is going to be a little bit more, I mean, safer. If we and then naturally the social distancing will be in place, and restaurants, for example, there will be less tables, so of course the prices will increase, and but people will be having a safe environment, or safer environment.
Mm-hmm.
Or very simple, the virus will disappear, and then we will go back to normal, but it will take time.
Yeah. As life is trying to pick up where it stopped a few months ago, are schools already reopening in Vietnam, or how is the social life recovering?
Except I think still closed are the karaoke, the massage, and all those institutions. But the rest is over. Restaurants are open. Schools is back to normal. It was closed like 4 months actually. Because it was February, March, April, and May. Yeah, it's just 3 months and a half. It was closed.
So a long time.
So, but everything is trying to recover. But of course, we are living on the domestic market for the time being. I mean, within the country, because we have no inbound.
I know you work with Korea as well, but I hear the situation there is worse than in Vietnam.
Where?
Korea.
Well, no, Korea is not worse. It was there was
a second lockdown or something. I heard something in the news.
There was a very big pocket of virus in Daegu, in the third biggest city in Korea. It was caused by religious gathering, and it's spread quite strong. But the government has taken very, very strong measures also. And there was a small recurrence in Seoul very recently, about 3 weeks ago, in a discotheque. People were infected by a guy that went to the disco, but it didn't spread. It was contained very, very quickly.
Okay.
So it's also now getting close to zero cases in Korea, and also the weather is getting much better, so it's not cold anymore. So I think it's also helping to stop the spread.
I think the solution for our industry is a working vaccine, and then maybe we can go as it was before. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's. I mean, again, we have to be very united. We have to be very, very strongly working together. And I appreciate, Peter, that we do this interview together. So it means that Horizon Select is really caring also of us, and also because it's some people have no news for since the beginning of the crisis, and it's sometimes sad.
Okay. Maybe a last question. Why should people go to Vietnam and Cambodia? I know, but it's nice to hear it in your words.
Well, first, because of course, in 3 months the countries are still what they used to be. You still have Halong Bay, the world wonder. You still have Angkor Wat temple that must see in their lifetime. It's so beautiful. It's the biggest archaeological site in the world. Vietnamese food is fantastic. The climate is nice. The seaside, we have 3,000 kilometers of coasts. So It's gorgeous with nice hotel service is good, and so we still encourage. And then we are corona free, only the beer.
George, thank you for the interview. Thanks for the update. Keep safe, keep healthy. Don't drink too much Corona there.
No.
And hope to see you soon.
Yes, either please come and visit us in Vietnam, or I may come to Europe, and also do a pilgrim and get to spread the gospel to God, get back to where and what needs to be done for tourism, and where we should not fear anymore this, and then go ahead and leave. It's the most important. Life is short, and then we should leave.
We should enjoy everything at least one time.
Yes.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Okay.
See you.
Bye.